This is Real and Raw, and I'm Lynn Serrano, and you are?
I'm Brian.
Wait, who are you?
I'm the other guy.
No, I'm Brian. No. You are Brian. Like, let's
I'm
step it up.
Lynn's co-host.
Woohoo! Oh, well, our name thing will change here. So I forgot to put, yeah, I guess whatever. Changing sceneries, I forget what the heck I'm doing sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So Steve said I should be more flashy or more classy. So I got me some Fiji water.
Oh my god.
So yeah. But anyhow, so back to
you feel more artisan.
Yeah, something like that. I was looking at our topic for today, but you ended up our action step last night was what is your deal break moment once you did everything you could? And the deal breaker for me would be that, if you feel it in your gut and you know it in your mind and you can't communicate with that person to understand where you're at, especially at the beginning of the relationship, you need to cut your losses and realize that's a no deal. Mm-hmm. Because it just in role playing with Heather and that was just a little role play. It's just a great reminder for me, especially that being that I'm unattached, is that, it's okay if you got to go, kiss a lot of frogs or this or that, or it's okay if you got to go see a lot of houses before you buy it. It's okay. You got to go see a lot of cars that don't have intermittent wipers or whatever. It's okay, whatever. But what's not okay is when you just settle.
Yep.
It's not okay when you're settling and you know that things you're really going to have to buckle down to something you're truly not happy with.
Or when when you have issues, but you're in denial about actually confronting them or doing anything about them,
Right. And so that's the deal breaker for me, is that I really have to say, I don't want to be like, when Heather's talking about being married for 10 years, at 10 years, you shouldn't be talking about something that was a problem since dating.
Right.
I mean, because if you're doing that still then, who do you blame? Yourself.
Yeah, most people don't.
For not realizing, okay, can't change them. I got to change how I feel about it.
Right.
And that's a problem. We live with ourselves all these years and we don't address ourselves with our issions.
Well, it's just that perpetuating behavior where, if this, then that. Right. If I do or if we get married, then this will happen. If we do this, and it's this paradigm shift that if we do this, then that'll happen. And it's like, well, that's all a fallacy, right?
Yeah.
Once I make $1 million, then I'll be happy. Once I get this house, once I get this pair of shoes, once I get that car with intermittent wipers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I was in a clubhouse with Glenn and some other people there. And this girl had said, the God of when this and that, but the God of the, it's just like, when I have $1 million, I'm going to go drive this car. Well, why don't you don't have $1 million, but why don't you just go and test drive that car? I mean, like things are doable or possible or whatever. It's the limitations you put on the whole, the kibosh of the mentality and the belief system that we keep feeding ourselves, that we just need to break that. And I'm working on that every day. That's a human working day in progress type of thing,
Right.
So it definitely is something that it's like taking a shower. You got to take a shower every day, make your bed every day. It's funny, speaking of making your bed, my dog for the longest time, he has anxiety issues. He likes to burrow in the blankets all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So to make him happy, or he knows before I get to bed, he burrows himself in there and he doesn't want me to make the bed.
Mm-hmm.
And, I wash the blankets and everything. And every time he doesn't like when I do that, because, he knows what's going to happen. And I just find, and he cried last night because it wasn't for, the way he liked it. And this morning I'm like, I realized how much I missed not having my bed made. And now I'm like, why am I doing this for my dog? Like, wait a second. It breaks my heart he has anxiety about that. But it wasn't making me happy. Mm-hmm. And that's the relationship between me and my dog. But I'm like, I realized, wait a second, I've got to be happy in this relationship with my dog. My bed's going to be freaking made. So,
that's awesome.
It goes to show you, I mean, I have to curtail my feelings for my dog. Whoa, back this up a little bit.
Right.
I got a people-pleasing problem that I've been trying to fix.
Well, it's a matter of priorities, unfortunately. And we all have blind spots in the situation. That's why we can't see what's obvious to others.
Right.
Like we were able to see things that Heather may or may not have seen. Now, she's been doing all the right things. Mm-hmm. But the fact of the matter is that we don't have all the answers. And number one, if we don't talk about it, well, then we're only shaming ourselves, right? Like I've been doing a lot of studying about Brene Brown's books and things about her. And it's just like whenever you're facing something that is negative or shameful or, that you really don't want to talk about, the worst thing you can do to propagate or metastasize what's going on is to not talk about it.
Yeah. And I did a lot of that. And that is why this year is about vulnerability. Hi,
Morning, Tracy.
That's why this year is me imperfectly just speaking when, sometimes the conversations I have in my mind are so intelligent and said eloquently. And then when I go talk, I don't talk in that level. Like, I can write better than I can articulate sometimes. But again, it's one of those things where why should I stop myself at least trying to get that muscle to work? I was catatonic after a traumatic car accident I was in that had I not gone and my brother went, my brother would have been killed. Mm-hmm. And when I realized the impact of what happened in the accident and losing my brother, I didn't talk for 2 months. Mm-hmm. And so, getting the ability to talk and things again, it's just sometimes I have more intelligent conversation with myself than I actually articulate. And I realize, no, I've got to articulate that to the world because the world needs, that thought, but truly it's one of those things where just do it and be vulnerable in relationships. And I just know that I'm not ready for that right now. I mean, because I don't want to do all the work. And so I'm very grateful of doing this with you because it really allows me to say it's safe for me to talk. It's very therapeutic and this is a safe zone for anyone that watches our show. So I love being vulnerable with them.
The one thing I want to share about this is that, we don't have the answers. And I say this a lot, even when I work with wedding couples. I don't have the answers to what is inside of you, right? It's not a sales pitch. It's not whatever. I mean, it's like, yes, is there a fee? Are there fees for what I do? Yes, but I don't even know if I can help you, right? And there are no magic pills to doing anything great. And I think that people have that in the back of their mind. It's like, oh, give me the Cliff Notes. Give me the quick version. It's like, anything we're telling you is coming from years of heartbreak, upset, near-death experiences, right? And it's like, there is no such thing for anything that you want to have done well that's going to be repetitious, it's ongoing, and something that you're able to have be fully self-expressed in is not a magic pill. There is no Band-Aid for any of this.
No.
Get that out of your head that like you mentioned the other day, Lynn, where it's like people find the dumbest reasons to break up. So then the point is that they dilute even what it means to even be together. Right. And it's like, okay, well, if you don't respect things, why should anybody take you seriously about anything? Because you joke about everything.
Yeah. Well,
it just blows my doors off that people want a Band-Aid. Okay. Yep. Band-Aid. How long do you expect that Band-Aid to last, and what do you want it to do? Because we don't even have to get started. Time out. We don't even have to get started because I know that Band-Aid is not going to get you the outcome you want.
What's sad is I could tell you, I was married 27 years, 3 guys. Okay. I'm 55. Do you realize that I was married half of my life I was married? Half of my life at this point. was half of my life I had been married. Right. And I've wasted more freaking time, and I've got more on my resume than you can even shake a stick, man. And the bottom line to everything I'm saying to you right now is I'm not here to help everybody with all their lessons, because you've got to learn these lessons sometimes for yourself. Yeah. But what I can tell you is, if you're looking for answers or similar or something to compare to or something to think about, as far as when you're in a rut at the beginning of a relationship, I may have a thing or two for you to think about. Right. And, it's our life to live it the way we want. And we know that we weren't, at our age, obviously, we didn't listen to anyone else, and we don't expect others to listen to us. Right. But we're definitely here to stir the real and raw tree, right. And have you realize that, why aren't we seeing the perfect couples come out there and talk about all the conflicts they had in their perfect relationship? Because everyone that says they have a great marriage, they're fucking lying. Oops.
I mean, life doesn't come with an owner's manual, like just like we're going through this health crisis, and some states are opening up, even in the wedding business, right? The wedding industry, I'm sure there are now, but prior to it happened, there was no, planning book for how to deal with a pandemic. Right? There wasn't any of that. But it's like, where are you getting your information from? Yeah. Are they trying to sell you something? Are they trying to, put propaganda in your head? Or are they actually giving you something? But here's the thing. They can put words out there, but it doesn't necessarily mean you do anything with them, right? And I've always learned is that the thing that you want to hear the least is the thing you need to hear the most.
Absolutely.
That comes from acting coaches, theater coaches, anybody. I mean, I'm always pushing how uncomfortable I am. I'm uncomfortable right now being, it subsided, but I keep pushing what that level is. Why would I not want to do that? Right? Why would I not want to be vulnerable with Lynn in front of everybody to push my skill set forward for how much a difference we can make to you and everybody else in our lives, right? I'd hope that everybody would want that for the standard and that you can be in the world and the difference you can make for everybody that you know and care about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going places that I didn't even think, man. I'm even thinking of observing Glenn Morshower's acting class, and then in a couple months, actually, even for a month or two, joining to act. I'm like, I like that scares the shit out of me. I don't even like doing, Facebook Live by myself. But we have to do a freaking monologue. Are you kidding me? But you know what? It's it's not going to kill me. It's just I'm just going to learn where my limits are.
Well, and let me simplify it for everybody. And it's I've never been married. I've been close to engagement, so there are some areas of life that I don't know, but I have plenty of life experience from nearly dying and dealing with the hardest things in life, right? Lynn has another part she brings at it from another part of life that's difficult, right? Because it's there is not one thing, right? We've all been through stuff, some more than others. But there are only two worlds you can be in. You can either be in the thinking world or you can be in the action world. That's it.
Yeah.
You can't think yourself to an outcome. You can't think yourself to a proposal. You can't think yourself to a great wedding. You have to take action.
Yeah.
You know? And by the way, I learned this from breaking up with somebody where it's hey, a person that confides in you to be their partner for life, they're keeping tabs on what comes out of your mouth and if if you actually mean what you say you're gonna do.
Yeah.
Because after a while, all it is lip service and there's nothing behind it. Or maybe you've had that done, or maybe you've been that person or that's been done to you, right? There are no magic pills to anything we're doing in life. It just doesn't work that way. And so for anybody that thinks that there is, I'm sorry, but you can't put a Band-Aid on something where there's, the blind spot to a lot of these things are symptoms. The root is much deeper than where you think it is.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Peeling onions, man.
Yep.
And you're going to have these layers of things that conflict and things that just they don't resonate with you at all.
I mean,
and that's because of your integrity. I mean, your integrity is a huge part of it. And if you're going to be with somebody that's not part of your integrity or you have conflict with, I mean, don't deceive yourself, because I guarantee you, I'd put money down on it that eventually it's going to come to fruition, that you put yourself into all the anguish. You only have yourself to blame in the situation. Truly.
Well, and when we look at symptoms, right? Let's just look at symptoms or reoccurring, things that make one upset or frustrated or disappointed, which causes one to fall apart from another. Those are patterns, and I would be willing to say that they're probably all common, right? They're not. You're not running from many different symptoms. Usually, it's only a few, right? And if somebody's keeping tabs on them, it's like, if they can identify what the symptom is, but knew nothing about it, well, then what does it say about them? And so, Brian is a person born as a knowledge seeker? Is it a personal thing? I have been like this my whole life. I don't understand the question.
She's asking you if you're born with a knowledge seeker. Are you a knowledge seeker? She goes, or is it a personality thing? Because she's relating to you. I've been like this my whole life. So in other words, I think you resonate with her, and that she thinks you're a knowledge seeker because that's how she is.
Oh, yeah. So I mean, and the thing about it is that, like, thanks for the clarity, Lynn.
And Tracy, am I right, Tracy? Let me know, but I believe so.
It's like I want to be a sponge, and ever since I was nearly killed in a car accident, it's been an emergence of that. I want to be a sponge. I want to be in any class I can take, no matter how vulnerable it is. I'll step up on a stage and perform and do improv, or perform at my weddings or whatever. Is because I no longer have those blinders that I have anything to worry about, right? I don't care what people think about me. Absolutely.
Just being you, boo.
And here's the thing. Unless somebody is in my shoes in that particular moment, they don't know what I'm going through, right?
Right.
They can embarrass me. They can do whatever, but I know inside of myself, my belief in myself. Right. And that doesn't waver, And the more that I step away from the noise and distractions of the world, the less any of that matters. I don't get triggered by those things. Because the minute I get triggered, and the more times I get triggered, I keep my focus off of things that matter to me and where I need to be in life. And I think, Tracy, that our sponge is born. Are we talking human, or are we talking in a manufacturing plant? You know what I mean?
This one right here, he is right there.
I think, Tracy, too, is that I think there's got to be some inherent DNA to that, where people that are curious and whatnot, but I also think that it comes into their personality. I really do. I'm a firm believer in that, because how can you have people important to your life where it's like, they show up a certain way, but you don't like their personality? You know what I mean? I think that if somebody's important to you, everything about them is what you gravitate towards. I don't think it's just one thing, because it's like, I like him for that, but I don't like him for all these other things, So for me, I think that the DNA, I've always been a curious person. And so then when it goes into my personality, I'd be willing to say that the people I hang around most are also those high achievers, the people that are always in a course. They're always doing something to get better. Yeah.
And I buy a lot of courses, and I have intentions to watch them at my leisure when I can, but and it's not a FOMO thing, but it's definitely, even if it's a conflict with my scheduling, if there's going to be a recording, I will keep it, because when I'm in that right mode, it's hard. My parents were screwed.
I will say this.
Kind, man.
I will say this, Lynn, too, is that there comes a moment in time, and maybe you've witnessed this, and Tracy, maybe you witnessed this too, is that this immersion of classes, right? You only can do one class at a time or whatever, but it's like eventually you come to the realization where it's like there is going to be more education and more courses than I'm ever going to be able to take. And I'm not going to bust my butt or lose sleep or jeopardize my health over something I have no control of. I only can do what I can do. And that was a realization I came up with a couple of years ago, where I'm like, man, I was beating myself up to get up earlier, stay up later, do as many courses I could. And it just, one gets done, then you open up another one, and then another one. And the cost of inaction, like you might, and don't get me wrong, they're great. But eventually there comes a moment in time where when you when you have that invisible thing laying in front of you known as education, you're never going to catch up to it. Never.
Right.
You know, I remember Brian Dodge, who's a keynote speaker from Texas. He goes, and this was many years ago, is when he goes, more information came out last night than you could spend reviewing, you know? Yeah. And then you multiply that by every day that goes on. So I don't play that game anymore where I beat myself up over like, man, I didn't get that course done, or I got all these courses and I can't seem to get anything done.
Right.
Give all that up.
Absolutely.
I mean, is it a great problem to have? Yes. But eventually you need to be human as well to be like, hey, I only can do what I can do.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't make you a failure. It doesn't make you a bad person. You know, you give me somebody that strives to be a sponge and a lifelong learner, I'd be very surprised if they don't have books if they have an abundance of books they haven't read yet. I'd be very surprised.
Right. Yep. I agree.
And they don't feel guilty about having those books. They just need to clean up the space where they can either read them or create a discipline to actually do it more frequently. So
absolutely. Yeah. So oh, look at this. This is, this is the bad hazard of your phone.
Turn it off.
No. That was automatically my phone opened up to a Clubhouse room and put me in a freaking Clubhouse. So it's like, no, get that off. You
should put your phone on airplane mode when we're doing a show.
We should, right? Yeah.
I do.
No, I don't when I have my granddaughter, because there's been times that the school calls and I have to be concerned about getting her. So, okay, well, so that's she's number one there. So yeah, but that's the anyways.
So today's topic, Lynn and I are truly grateful that you guys have been with us. All of our loyalists, and then anybody catching the replay, we're honored and grateful you're here. We're making our way through a week of tough love in relationships, with a hint of specific to engaged couples, but it's open to anybody in a relationship of some kind. So today's topic is all about
even with your dog, people.
Oh yeah,
yeah, because that shit's real.
I'm going to go back on what I said yesterday as final thoughts, is that falling apart, in my opinion, I think it's got to be something that you just have happen to you, to know what it feels like, to know what it is. And then you can actually experience it.
Well,
I don't think that conceptually to somebody that's never went through it, I don't think is fair. I don't think that they can really relate to it in such a way that when you have a gut-wrenching breakup, and it's like, wow, after the aftermath of it is like, man, I was with that person way too long.
Well, and the falling apart, you got to realize it is truly, when you don't feel that there's any resolve, you're not being heard, you're to a certain point, truly the last question you have to ask yourself, is this going to be acceptable for the rest of my life?
Right.
Because and when I say the rest of my life, we're talking about engaged couples. This is the seriousness of why you should be engaged. Now, mind you, I got married 3 times. I never freaking had an engagement time. And I guess they all knew, shit, give her time to make a decision. She ain't going to marry you. And that's truly what it means. And I didn't know any better. But this time, man, I want to be engaged with somebody. Engaged to have fun. Engaged to just hang out. To be my buddy. To be my partner. I want a long-ass engagement. I guess Oprah had it right there with her Stefan or whatever. They're engaged for freaking years.
Well, truth be told, Lynn, you don't want that right now because you said it yourself.
No, but what I'm saying is that when I do, but if I say, look, I found the guy and I'm getting married, Brian, you better come wherever the hell I am, slap me silly, because I'm telling you, I want a freaking engagement time. I mean, maybe a couple years, I don't know, but I want it to be a while. Every stone is not going to be turned and just be right or anything. But the point is you got to always ask yourself, is this really worth it? Worth it the long haul? Because it's just an important question that I personally wish I would have taken more stock in. That's all I'm saying.
Sure.
It would have saved me a lot of time and headaches and whatnot. But again, I'm not going to change my life. I'm not, changing my life. I wouldn't be where I am and have the experiences I had. But I'm truly saying that it is what it was. Mm-hmm. And it was what it is. But right now, just simple things like this, simple measures can make such a difference of heartache. And, sometimes we have to go through heartache to appreciate when we have something good. So it's a good experience. It's, failing forward is always great. And so, falling and failing is great. But if you're going to pick up the pieces to be back together, pick it up with mending whatever situations that were a conflict, because if you don't fix that and realize that at the beginning, then there's just so much it's going to cost you. So, hi, Christine. Thanks for being here.
Hey, Christine, thanks for being here. There's a few things as you were talking that just from my past that I realized about falling apart is just some red flags that I've witnessed. Number one is silence. When you don't talk, or it gets very infrequent, even if you live in the same house, right? You the private time that you would have together, like eating at the table, without any phones or anything like that, that all of a sudden becomes an issue. You talk you talk very little besides just how's the day going and whatnot. Number two is that there's you don't have the connection, like the quality time, right? See, there's always something that gets in the way.
But being an introvert, in a relationship, I truly am quiet. Like I find that's my, I like quietness. I really do. And I mean, I like being peaceful. So if the energy's good, peace and tranquility is nice. And then of course I can have diarrhea of the mouth and blah, 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 blah. But then after I'm done, for me, silence is good. But again, I know that if I stay silent, then I close up. So it's kind of hard. And that happens to a lot of introverts. But, you got to realize that you got to get out of your own way of that comfort zone, to get out of your way, to make sure that you're getting the peace that you want for the rest of your life. And I don't mean that kind of peace. I'm talking peacefulness, peace and happiness.
I think we got another word, peace. Peacefulness.
He's collecting these words.
Hey, by the way, everybody, we have our improv show tomorrow.
Yes.
Something we started doing last week. So what we're going to do is, for those of you that haven't been on with us, put words in the chat that really summarize what we've been talking about. We need your help on this one, because Lynn and I are going to do short little improv, segments tomorrow. And the way we're going to do it is to kind of propel you to the weekend and have it be fun and off the cuff. We're going to take everything that we do Monday through Thursday, and we're going to take all those words or short expressions and actually make a show out of it on Friday. So it's fun and we can embarrass ourselves for your entertainment value.
And yesterday, you guys, I had some vocabulary words that I made up. Like, I don't know, badassness is one of them.
Let's put it this way for everybody watching. If you were not on yesterday's show, we would have been screwed if it wouldn't have been for yesterday, because I got like 5 or 6. So at least we got something going for content for tomorrow's show. So Lynn did very well. It was like click, 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 like it's just bling, 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 all these words.
Oh, man. You said you ran out of paper yesterday, right?
Well, I just started writing on both sides. That's what I did. So I've already got 2 today, so we're good.
By the time we've been doing the show for a while, they're like, shit, Lynn, I just got me a ream of newspaper or paper. I'm going to have to send you a ream of paper.
We got Lynnisms, let's just say.
Oh, my gosh. Oh,
so falling apart, I remember going to therapy with my ex. I mean, we actually broke up at a therapy session. And the
one with 4 years?
Yeah.
4 years? Okay.
We broke up at a therapy session, and to me, it was like, okay, was it coming? Yeah. But the part that
you thought you were safe at therapy, right? You didn't think she'd break up with you at least the therapy session, right?
Well, the cowardly thing, in my opinion, it might be a harsh word, but it's like we couldn't talk about these things, or I was blindsided by it, that she couldn't have done it just by us talking about it, right? It had to be actually be done in a therapy session, which I don't know how anybody feels, but for my opinion, it just felt like it was like you had to have it mediated by somebody else because you couldn't do it on your own.
Well, you know what, Brian? I don't know this girl from Adam, but you know, from what I keep hearing from the situation, definitely things from her past affected your relationship. And yet with that trigger, and even before I got to really know you, you know, being a tall guy and just your voice and things like that, I'm sure that the triggers were just, she probably was being elaborate to the extreme of concerns that had nothing to do with you. I want you to realize that, because knowing you the way you are, one, you went to therapy. Most guys wouldn't do that. Okay.
Right.
One, but which she should have realized that this guy's taking time for therapy, but you see, she wasn't in the right mind for that. And I'm just intuitively telling you this because I was that person. But two, you know, and I mean, we're vulnerable and raw here, but there's a couple times you have come on here and I could just feel your energy, and I didn't know how to handle it personally.
Right.
And then
that's true.
When the camera came on, you were the different person. Okay. And that's the guy I love. But I have been around that energy that you've had before. And that does close a person off. That doesn't say there's anything wrong with you, Brian, but it is true that somebody that has had those, but if she never explained to you that it wasn't you, it was her, she had to take the ownership to fix that and clean to her, say, look, this is a guy, like the fact that you went to therapy, she should have had the freaking big ass green light to say, wait, this is safety. But again, for her though, she needed a therapist to break up with you because she was scared. That had nothing to do with you either. You know, I mean, I can see the writing on the wall. And what I'm saying is, I'm glad you realized that none of this shit had to do with you, but it definitely had to do with her. And my heart goes out for her, because if she's still wandering around, she may realize that the best thing she had was you, and she fucked it up. And the thing is that when you've been through stuff and you don't realize the signs, you don't know a good guy from a bad guy.
Correct.
It's difficult. And so what I'm saying is I can truly see how you could have intimidated her without intending to, without saying, Lynn, it's nothing about you, but it's not a good time to talk right now. If those little things, and I'm telling you that even for your current relationship, if you could just take that 1 minute to pause and say that, you know, and say, look, I'm in a timeout, which I'm sure you do now, but I'm saying if you do that, you will diffuse so much, and then that person won't take it against themselves that it has any, you're working with something. Because again, I've been through enough to know the difference, and I know your heart, and that's what I focus on. So I let go of any of that stuff. So you didn't emotionally hurt me there, because I fixed that. But I also can detect it now when I feel or see that energy to say, whoa, you know, because that's triggers in me. So I love your vulnerability. And I know that not only that, it's great because you can, you know, do you realize that you got the blessing that when you see a groom that's like you, Brian, I hope you take them to the side and say, dude, come here. We need to talk. You need to know she's a beautiful person. You know, this just really hit me for you, Brian. And I'm almost in tears here because you are such a freaking big teddy bear, but this blessing of this hardship you went through, I hope that you implement this for the guys that can be assholes sometimes, and say, look, I was an asshole to scare this person when I was pissy, and they misunderstood that. So don't do this to her. You are going to be helping so many guys in that, because guys don't understand. When a girl feels that way, it's that safety thing, so I just needed to say that and hope that helps you to realize that you are a good guy. And it was just, us girls, we overthink things. I mean, I could tell you that, man. And we go on our own tangents, unfortunately. But that's what I mean. That's what people need to work on in engagements. And that's why it's such an important, I'm glad that we took this tough love this week, because with the tough love, you can really have something really beautiful.
Well, and here's the thing is that, so put up what Christine said.
Okay.
Okay. My ex and I split, and he talked to me into going to therapy only because I didn't get through to him that we were done. And that's what I told to the therapist. Yeah. I mean, disbelief, misunderstanding, didn't want to ironically discuss practice. Oh no. Lynn, you nailed it. I am so impressed that Brian does the counseling. Yeah. I mean, it's something I do every day. And it's like, everything was deeply rooted, because I had to confront some issues about my dad that I didn't realize. Right. My dad was verbally abusive when I was growing up. He didn't know any better. I was his only kid. And a lot of that, I suppress feelings from people that I deem authoritative, where you just take it, that, okay, so mine was bad. You seem so awesome, Brian, change your name.
And it's just like, I love Brian on here. I love
Brian on here, so honest. And see, that's the only way I roll, Christine, because I trained myself to be that person because, Brian needs the counsel.
And I felt that. That's totally true. That's what I'm saying, Brian. There needs to be guys, I'm telling about the girl code. You're talking about the guy code, and we're sprinkling with some truth and some honesty here. And that's what, I was honest. Okay. Anything late last night in Clubhouse. You rocked that.
I was
ask a guy. Okay. Oh, she had asked me if you're in the Clubhouse, and no, he's not in the Clubhouse yet. But we need to do a room in there. I think we'd have it rocking. Sponge gets best.
And see, everything I'm sharing right now is a gift. I didn't know what it was going to look like, but by I think I did 8 or 9 EMDR therapy treatments, and I go to therapy every month. I mean, I'm down to once a month, but I embrace it. And see, everything is rooted in the conversations. To me, a conversation with anybody, with a couple that I might want to, that might want to have me a part of their wedding or whatever, everything can be brought back to a conversation, so you're on the same page with people. Right. And it's not a sales pitch. Like if it's in a business context, it's not to, hey, let's meet in my creepy basement and talk about your wedding. No, you're making that up. That's not what I'm saying. Let's have a conversation. Right.
Yeah.
And I am an intense person. I'm not going to deny that, because I'm not going to be denied what I want in life. It's not going to happen, and I tell it like it is. And that's how I was raised. I mean, I was talking to my mom this morning, and it's like, she speaks her mind, and she does it with full self-expression. And if somebody's in the way of her, they're not wearing a mask in a store, she's going to tell them just who she is. Right.
Yeah.
So
there's duality in all of this though, too, because even though you may not, say, hey, I don't give a shit or whatever, you're still the kind of guy, well, why should I give a shit, Lynn? Or what's your take on that? And you at least are open to at least say, okay, let me listen to this without saying, I don't give a shit what Lynn says. You're a great impromptu person to say, okay, we're going to fly with this. We're putting ourselves in this. And that's what's wrong in a lot of relationships. Even if you put it in somebody's perspective, they sit there and they're like, yeah, well, I don't care if you did it that way because I don't know. But if you truly have somebody that's going to spar with you and debate with you and truly put yourself in your shoes, and the fact, like I said, you went to counseling to figure out what is wrong with me instead of what's wrong with her, or how can I fix it? That's pretty freaking awesome. And that's awesome because, 4 years in, you knew you had a lot invested, and you could have just said, F it, and I'm going away. But what I love is that you couldn't fix the fact that she was being honest with you. And, so I think that's great. But the problem there is you didn't want to listen to her honesty and accept her honesty. You're still trying to say, but I'm good. I can change this because that's how much you're caring. But it is signs, people, when people are telling you how they are, freaking listen to them. They're giving you the clue.
And there's two things whenever I'm in a conversation with somebody is one of the most coveted things is that when you're talking to somebody and it's like, help me understand this.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, and I did a seminar. I did not a workshop, but I did a webinar months ago that was about 5 or 10 years in the making. I had graphics in my head. It would be my ideal situation as I'm presenting it in front of thousands of wedding professionals, right? And I've had it in my brain, but I just never brought it to the surface because of my self-limiting beliefs, right? And every situation in life, you're either on the side of the fence, you're either on that person's side if it's an intimate relationship, right? Or you're on your side of the fence trying to reach over, right? And I did it in a business context where if a bride and groom have, you know, a wedding planner, and the person that is trying to relate to them over the fence, right, is much different than somebody that is on their side of the fence with no barriers, right? They know that they're graduated from college, they're buying a house, work is stressful, you know, they have health issues, whatever it is. Somebody that is on their side of the fence wants to know that information. You know, they seek it out because they want the full story versus somebody that feels like they're imposing because they want to ask personal stuff, right?
Right.
Well, they're not bellowing it out to everybody. They're using it because that's how they connect to somebody, right? Mm-hmm. And so there's a clear difference, in my opinion. That barrier is the difference between somebody slowing down the pace when they don't have it all straight in their head. You know, that's interesting. Tell me more, or help me understand this, right? Allow that person to have their feelings come forward so that it can be connected before it becomes toxic and it becomes unsafe to the point where you part ways.
Right.
And to me, it's coveted. To me, and maybe that's my psychology background, but it's like, that's interesting. Tell me more.
Well, you know, yeah. And, you know, you could take all the psychology you want, and it does help a lot with a lot of bases of the brain and the development and all those things. But no curriculum, no nothing can really prepare you for the truth that you're in when you're in it.
Correct.
And, you know, you can't say, Brian, I'll be right back. I gotta go look over here and see what that shit says so I can come back to you and fix the problem. Again, you're not listening to the moment. You're not relating. Hey, if I'm going to go out for acting classes, I got to start being more animated, okay?
I thought you were trying to tickle me, and I don't like, you know, tickling makes me giddy. And
yeah. Well, that's good to know. So when I get to see you and hug you, I'm going for those handles.
You better get some arm extensions because I'm kind of a large mammal, you know.
Yeah. Well, anyways, so yeah, it was just it's one of those things where people don't realize, and that is why I wouldn't say we're dumbing up our conversation here, but we're just being like plain English, with some things that really can make a difference in people's lives if they look at the situation the way we're bringing in the content. We're talking about how you could even save yourself a lot of money on courses.
Well, there's one thing that doesn't work for me of anybody that's in my world is surface level information, right?
Yeah.
The given stuff. How's the weather? That kind of banter type of talk. To me, it's a waste of time, right?
Yeah.
I want surface level information is just the basics, which doesn't really dive down deep into in terms of how that person ticks. Right. Who is this person? That's the stuff. That's the information that if I'm going to invest my time, I want to know about. So like, if I don't talk to that person for a while, I can pick up right where I left off because of what we talked about.
Right.
Things that matter, truly matter to them. That's where I spend all my time, is in that kind of stuff. Because maybe I can make a difference in their world. Maybe I can, you know, send them a card, or, you know, reach out to them if I haven't seen them in a while and say, hey, I'm thinking of you. And it's something that they appreciate, right? It's a visual of it or something.
Right.
That surface level information type stuff. I know that depending on the relationship, you have to start somewhere, but I would rather dive right into who a person really is than to stay surface level. You know,
that's exactly where I feel right now about the whole dating thing. Is like, I think I'll probably have a 2-page questionnaire and say, read this when you're on the toilet. Let's talk tomorrow, you know?
Before we get together, I need you to read this.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, it just people don't really ask themselves those tough questions that are not tough, but what's tough is that we don't take the time to ask what we want until it's too late. And I'm guilty of that. I'm truly guilty of that. I can do better putting the mask on somebody else before myself, you know, and it's and I realized when I've told the people that, I said, no, you truly need it on yourself in order to help people, you know? And so, you know, that's why, oh, and I wanted to show this here. Tracy says, yes, true meaning of being engaged are the things we're talking about. Yep. And the couples agreement. Yep. It's just,
I love when there's, you know, I'll go back to my buddy Rick, and I know that I've repeated his name several times, but something I'll never forget that he did for me is just like, Ryan, you're entitled to have the person that you want in your life, the woman that you want. Mm-hmm. And you are entitled to be selective and to seek out that person without any rush or urgency.
I tell that to my friends too, man, especially after what I've been through, man. I'm like, dude, if you want to save some money and some time, we're not talking about your Geico insurance.
Geico.
Just some simple shit. If you see some problems and you can't talk about those simple problems, it's going to be the freaking splinter in there. I feel like the Rosanna, Rosanna telling you there's going to be a splinter in your finger. And then it's a splinter. It could be the worst thing in your life is having a splinter, man. That shit can hurt deep.
Okay, everybody, a little PSA from our show today. Never try to sell Lynn Geico insurance.
I already have some, so we're good.
Or don't ever try to sell her a car that doesn't have
intermittent wipers.
Yeah, intermittent wipers.
Oh shit! I got other analogies they're going to bring out the pocket here soon, but that's where we're at right now.
But here's the thing: is like, you know, how many times I don't hear it a lot anymore, but it's like how much time is wasted with catfishing, and you know, we're not going to get into this because this is not topic today. But it's like how much of this nonsense about Darren, thanks for being here. How much nonsense about wasting people's time, not, you know, misrepresenting themselves. And it's just such a, it makes me disbelieve it, because I'm like, how could somebody do that from a standpoint of wasting somebody's time, wasting your time, the lack of trust, the lack of likability. And so I'm so grateful that Rick shared that with me, because I don't want to, you know, one of the biggest wastes of time that people say when they're on these sites or whatever is somebody wastes my time, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if I'm able to take ownership that I won't want to have my time wasted, so why would I waste yours?
Right.
I'm doing a service here.
Right. Well, in my website, I always say my profile says, hey, I want to be friends first, and we'll see how it goes. Because if I can't be like, hey, Brian, how are you? You know, and how you doing? And you're saying, oh, so what bra size are you? I'm like, no, sorry, we're not talking there.
Oh my God.
I mean, yeah, man, you just know. You have any naked pictures of? Oh yeah, you have no.
Oh my goodness.
Freaking, and it's like, okay, next. I mean, like, okay, that's just a horny toad. I ain't going there. You know, it just, you know, and it's rare when you just get somebody, hey, let's go hang out for dinner and things. You know what's really cool is when I first talked to Theron, he invited me over for Christmas to hang out with him and his kids to play games. He goes, I invite friends all the time, and I'm thinking, that is freaking cool. You know, just. Yeah. You know, I didn't do it, but I just still thought that was a sweet thing to say. You know, I mean, you know, it was just, it's just those simple things.
It's interesting that all of these things that nobody wants and everybody is just repulsed by, that we're so conditioned to expect that and not be surprised when it happens. But when somebody doesn't do that and everything checks out, that there's just this authentic human being that isn't asking me for anything, they want to be themselves, and they just show up as authentic, right, without any issues, right?
We're adults here, right?
You almost second guess that person as if, like, is this too good to become true? Well, the bar is set so damn low.
Are we adults here? Because she just embarrassed the heck out of me with what she wrote. Here we go.
Oh. Brian, please tell the police. Tracy, I'm glad you mentioned that because I'm a big Apple geek, and supposedly they have a new model that's coming out. It's going to have 1 terabyte of storage, and actually the guy that was whose channel it was, he was talking about, hey, so now I got room for all my blank pics.
Oh my goodness.
He was joking, of course, but I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know where I was going to use that information today, but Tracy made it available by your comment.
Yeah, there you go.
I got issues.
You don't got issues. You're a really nice guy. So just chill out, dude. Just chill out.
Theron, make sure you record that part so then you can use it, because when Lynn gives somebody a compliment like that, she means it.
Yeah, I do. And he's just, like I said, a very nice guy. That's what I'm looking for, was friends. I mean, I was trying to go on a dating site just to find guy friends. I mean, because I have guys that are my friends and besties. But most of them, I guess, on a dating site aren't looking for girls that are friends. So I was like, okay. And I'm not, we're talking plenty of fish. That's not what they're looking for. I mean, match, that's not what they're looking for.
No.
So anyways, but
what are the other ones, like Cupid's Corner or whatever, Tinder, Bumble.
So I did the BBW, big girls, blah blah blah, and all that's a wrong thing because they want to know your boob size. I'm like, oh my goodness. Yeah. So anyways,
that's an entirely different show. Christine says, I always say, make a list of what you want, but most important, what you don't want. Because like you said, it will multiply by 10 later. If it's a 1 for annoying, it'll be a 10. Get rid of him later. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. For sure. Hey, we'll have action steps and stuff, but I want to take 2 minutes at the end of the show to talk about Texas and some fundraiser thing going on this weekend. So,
sure. Okay.
But anyways, but yeah, I think falling apart. I think we've mashed it down to, the seriousness of falling apart. When you end it knowing that you've exhausted everything. That's my takeaway of today.
Right.
And not only that, to know that you're not going to look back with regrets on the situation.
Right.
But don't take the coward way out, because you're going to bring that problem, that you will perpetuate your problem in your next relationship if you didn't resolve it in your last.
Absolutely.
I guarantee verbatim that you will fall down that rabbit hole, the same thing, because you're not going to take the steps to say, hey, wait, I need to know if this has intermittent wipers.
Does she or does he?
Is that our words? If it isn't, it should be, man, because I said that so much this week.
I'm going to get Lynn a sticker to put on her car.
No, you're not.
It's in the mail. Click.
No.
Intermittent wipers, please.
Oh, my goodness.
That should be like when you go to the bar or you just want to go out for a cocktail, because you only can have one, is that's a shirt that you got to wear when you go out and see what happens in the report back.
Bad as I go out. It's been a while since, obviously, we all can say it's been a while since we've gone out. But when I've gone drinking with my daughter to a Mexican place or something, I get this drink. And sometimes it's like, I don't want that. And she's like, I'll finish it up, Yeah. So that's why I got to have more food.
Just so everybody knows, right next to Lynn's screen, she's got her booze bottles.
Yes, I do. It's still waiting for me.
Oh my God.
Hey,
everybody that can see that bottle, that was 3 drinks worth in that little part that's taken off.
Yes. 3 drinks.
We would need 57 Lynn's to finish that bottle in a week.
Yeah, so I mean, my kids think, Mom, you did not drink some of that. Yeah, I did. They're like, man, Mom, you barely drank anything and you're acting all loopy. My kids think it's just so funny.
Way to go, Lynn's kids.
He said he'll be right over to have some of that. Okay.
Yeah, we got some wet vodka to drink.
You know what? It's right here by the window where the sun comes in. It'll probably end up evaporating just sitting there.
I don't have a comment to say about that.
It's just like when I go first class on the plane, right? I tell them, can I have a splash of vodka? And they bring it out and I'm like, can I have more orange juice? And they're like, you weren't kidding about you. I'm like, I'm first class. I want at least a splash of alcohol.
So the disappointing part about that is that she probably got more alcohol in that one drink on a flight than she took having 3 drinks out of that bottle she just showed us.
Yeah. And it was still too much.
Yeah. Whoa. You gave me too much.
My kids keep telling me, Mom, we want to get you high just one time. I'm like, oh, wow. No. That would be no way.
You will really be able to see caribou and stuff without actually looking outside.
I will be freaking out.
You're like, hey, daughter, there's a moose right there.
Oh my gosh.
So anyhow, yeah, why don't you talk about Texas and then we'll move to our
okay. Yeah, sure. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, so Glenn Morshower actually went into a room and he found himself he's going to be part of this thing, and I don't have that video up here, but what was cool is last night I went into a clubhouse room, and one of my friends here from Montana, she's actually one of the people, Sandy Gephardt. She was a local insurance person here. She does marketing. She's actually one of the people helping form this up. And so I'm going to help moderate, and I'm waiting for some videos to do a short little public announcement about all this. But what's really cool is 100% of the money is going to feed everyone. It's not
That's
it's
cool.
just, and the cool thing is if you text, to 7177. I'm going to have more information later. What they're doing is they're giving $1 can make 3 meals. Wow. Literally, that's, most of the money, the discounts they get for the food. It's just all going for the food, and it's just an amazing thing that they're doing. But what's real cool in Nashville, they're doing actually live concerts and everything, and they're going to plug it in to Clubhouse, and I'll have a Clubhouse link directly for people to join the Clubhouse. We're concerned that the servers will go down, but so far they have $1,500. Nice. And if you take $1,500 and divide that by 3, they've already got a lot of meals covered, if anything else. But they're going to do this for 48 hours in a Clubhouse this weekend. Nice. So it's really cool. It's just, I don't usually pitch things like this, but I do pitch things that when they are 100% for the cause and that, it's really helping, I can't help but say,
a link or something that anybody can click on or go to for more info or whatever.
Actually, I will be posting something on, I'll do Live, Love, and I'll have more information, but that's just a quick raw thing that it starts 5:00 Pacific time. So I think 8:00 Eastern time tomorrow night.
Okay.
So there'll be more information, and I'll have more information for our show tomorrow on it as well.
Nice.
And some videos, but I just wanted to bring it up now, just to know that even if you give $5, $5 times what you got, 3 times 15 meals for $5. It's really cool. So thanks for letting me talk about that. And so let's get to the action step here.
Yeah. So tomorrow, if you're able to join us tomorrow, Lynn and I are going to be doing our second improvised show, where we take all of the little short words or whatever that pertain to what we talked about that week. So everything is going to be about tough love tomorrow, and we're going to be quick-witted. I'm going to put them on little slips of paper, pull one out. Lynn talks, I talk, we move on to the next one, and then I have a mess on my floor. So all for your entertainment value. So the action step and thing to consider. And we appreciate all of our loyalists, all the commentary we've had, and anybody catching the replay. We're honored you're with us. So the action step or question is, what things would you do to cope with your situation? So like, if you were falling apart with your partner, what things would you do to cope with that, right? How would you get yourself in a position of health? How would you get yourself in a position of rest and all of that, right? Because you're going to want to do the opposite. You're not going to sleep. You're probably not going to eat properly, right? What things would you personally do to cope with a situation like that is the question for everybody until we gather tomorrow.
I love that. And wow, 59 seconds, 20 seconds to go. I want to thank everybody for being here. It's been a really fun, eye-opening week for me. Hasn't it been an eye-opening for you to, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I know it's a work in progress, but isn't it just nice to realize how important the tough love and just being vulnerable to make things better? I mean, things don't get, just like even being out of shape now. I mean, I got to get even more sore and get out of my comfort zone to get in shape. I mean, like, when it's like a muscle, it's just a muscle, a relationship. It's not going to be easy till you do the work. So thank you, Tracy, for being here.
Yeah,
thank you, everyone, for being here. But it's just a great food for thought that in all facets of our life, if we just say we're in it to make it better instead of just walking away and letting little things get, a lot of people can laugh about this shit after it's over and done with and realize how much stronger it made.
Well, in the understanding that it's like, okay, a relationship ends, but what you did or didn't complete is still going to be with you.
Right. And just think of this. When people say to you, and we gotta go, but when people say to you, so why'd you guys break up? Think about that. Can you really say the truth? And can you?
And do it from a non-biased position.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where you don't make anybody wrong, but it's like and this is where we talked about 2 days ago, I believe it was.
Yeah.
What happened versus what I made it mean.
Yep.
We're talking very rigid, like we just weren't right for each other or something along those lines.
So ask yourself that before you have the falling out, because how stupid is it going to sound? I don't know. Well, he was just an asshole because he didn't want to go to McDonald's. Oh, okay.
Well, and also though, one more thing, and I know we got to go because we're past our time, is that imagine if you say something neutral. If you've done this in the past, you know what I'm talking about. But if you say something neutral, not defensive towards your ex, where does that put you in their eyes, right? Yeah. That you're not making anybody wrong. It's not a test where you're going to crack or say something ill will about the other person. When you stay and when you're clear, when you're fully clear about where you are in the relationship, why it didn't work, the less it matters, the less you're going to have to talk about that other person.
Right. Absolutely.
To me, that's a big check mark. If you can talk about why something ended without bringing your ex into it, I think you've recovered from it.
You know what? We got to go, Theron, but look at them. I take the blame and don't talk bad about it. Well, that's sweet that you don't talk bad about it, but anyways, you're a nice guy. Get over it. We got to go. Bye, everybody.
See you tomorrow, everyone.
Tomorrow's improv day. I can't wait.